Whew, what's up, guys? So I'm here to do a recap and review of the Netflix miniseries When They See Us. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was scared to watch this at first because I knew it was going to hit home for me because I have a lot of younger brothers. I have a lot of older brothers, stepbrothers. My brother just graduated high school. I have a cousin who's 15, about to be 16 in September. I have my two younger cousins who I love like little brothers, 9 and 7, and I knew this was going to hit home for me. I watched it on Monday. I sat down, and I'm not going to lie, the first 2 minutes I was crying because I was seeing the introduction of the boys, and just, it hits you that they were just kids. They were just kids that decided to go outside and walk in the park at the wrong time. And during the 4 parts, we see how the system basically set them up. Like, we saw the detectives on this case basically have a vendetta to frame these boys for a assault and attempted murder that they did not commit. One of the boys, Corey, he wasn't even there. He went to the station with his friend, and they just went to add a 5th person. This case, you know, we learned about it, not in school, because I grew up in a really white school, y'all. I learned about it through passing and through different teachers and professors, because it was a very big case, and it was an even bigger case because of the acquittal and the actual person that was actually found guilty. He was already in jail for another assault and murder and multiple other assaults before that, after the first one with the jogger. Basically, this whole case, there was no witnesses, no DNA evidence of the guys on the female. She was attacked from behind and didn't remember what happened, don't know who it was. But still, they convicted them. And majority of them spent 6 to 13 years in prison. And it sucks because it's still happening now. And I'm going to go through every guy individually. First, we have Antron. We see him, you know, he starts with a moment with his dad. And I feel like, and I knew we were going to have to see him and the dad and their relationship be a kind of focal point with his story. Yeah, he was interrogated. They interrogated those boys for hours, 42 hours total. No bathroom breaks, no food, no water. Their parents were with them, then had them signing away their Miranda rights as minors. This is back in '89. This is in a place where they always focus on going by the book. They were excluding the book to break in a law to frame these boys. These were kids. These were minors. And Linda Fahrenstein, who wrote a bunch of books off of this, let me tell you something. She had a vendetta. She didn't care that these were little boys. She didn't care that these were kids. She saw them as criminals just because of the color of their skin. Like, oh my God. And Kevin, oh God. That cop just beat him as if he was a grown man. Hit him with a helmet, his eyes swollen. Oh my God, my goodness. So back on Antron. His parents are there. His father, he served time back in the day, and the cops telling him, the basic is like, if you want your son out and your boss not to hear about your past record, you'll get him to sign the paper and admit to it, even though he knew he didn't do it. And that puts a strain on their relationship. The dad doesn't come to court. He leaves the mom. I can't remember if it was before or after he was sentenced. But yeah, and his mom goes to visit them every day. Antron does eventually get out. His father is, I don't remember what it is, but he was on dialysis. And Antron, he still feels that pain, but he has to let that go because his father's dying. And they have that moment. And, you know, we see him try to get into normalcy. He does start dating a girl, but I didn't like her. She basically is like, why don't you take me out places? Knowing real well the strict rules he has when it comes to his parole. And she had the nerve to be like, you treat girls like this, just like you treat that woman. I'm like, ooh, I know you're trying to hold it together. You're not trying to do anything. And that's self-control right there. And I'm just like, ah. And I understand him wanting to leave the city. Actually, three of them actually live in Georgia and Atlanta. I did not know that. And they actually open businesses, foundations, they're public speakers. It's just really a great thing. But yeah, Antron, he starts a whole new family. He gets some in classes. He actually works towards something, and then, you know, the quote happens. That's where we lead into the end. Next one, Ray. Ray, man, let me tell you, Ray was rough for me. He lived with his dad and his grandma, and the dad put so much faith in that he did not do it. He never gave up on his son. He would call him every day when he was locked up there. He eventually does come home and gets released. His dad has a whole new family, has a new wife, Linda. He has a little brother. Her cousins and aunts are staying in the house, so he has to sleep in the baby's room. The stepmom did not like him. I mean, even though, you know, he was a teenager, and she just doesn't like him. Like, she just saw him as like a waste of space, and that annoyed me. I'm like, is the stepmom still around? Because, just a question. You know, Ray, he's trying to get back into society, and he's trying to deal with the limits he has as someone who's on parole. He meets this girl he was talking to back in the day that he stopped writing because he didn't know if he was ever going to get out, and that he thought he wasn't good for her. They do meet back up. They start a relationship. He's doing great at his job. They decide to get a place together. He gets let go from his job, and he goes back to selling dope on the street. I'm like, no, Ray. Then we see him get arrested for selling crack on the streets. I'm like, man, damn it. And, you know, he does get out when he does get released. I don't know how long he served time, but he does get out. But it also shows how they're waiting for you to come back in to the system. So, Hussam. Hussam, he is a Muslim. He is a really smart and accelerated person. His mom was really for him that he's innocent, and she kind of annoyed, and she pissed me off because she was acting like he was the only one innocent in the whole thing. Also, I need to tell you, these boys did not know each other at all. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. Hussam, you know, he was scared. They were beating on him because, you know, they were interrogating him, even though his ID said 16. He told them that he was really 15. He just changed the number because he was trying to impress girls, as guys would, as normal teenagers would. And they interrogated him. His mom got them out of there. She threatened to go to the Times because they were interrogating her son without a parent present as a minor, having them sign away his rights. He gets out, and, you know, he doesn't know how to socially interact with people, even his own siblings that he hasn't seen in years. My goodness, and it's hard for him. He wants to, you know, be a teacher and be what he originally wanted to do, but he can't do that with a record. And so he ends up getting a job at Starbucks, and, you know, he does go to classes, you know, with trying to get some sort of, like, level of working. And, you know, we see him work at Starbucks towards the end when the quote happens. So that's the wrap up on that. Kevin. Oh, sweet Kevin. Kevin, he has a sweet family. He has his mom, his sister, all his aunts. My goodness, he was just a kid. He wanted to leave so bad. His sister didn't know she was signing. They were literally harassing and hounding them to get her to sign away his right to a lawyer. He didn't know what was going on, what they were telling him to do, what she was signing. These detectives were literally manipulating his voice to admit to doing things that never happened. But yeah, Kevin got out. The sister always believed in him. You know, he was working. He'd go to class. He kept in touch with, not Ray, but, Ray had already left. Antron already left. It was Hussam. Him and Hussam, they stayed tight. They actually were looking out for each other when they were in juvie, but, Hussam decided to stick with the Muslims because his mom told him to stay put and find a group to protect him. Kevin did the same thing. His sister told him about finding someone to look forward to when he gets out, and he did. It's just starting a new life for himself. Now Corey. Oh my God, Corey was the worst. My God. So he was 16 and he was considered an adult, so he went to the actual Rikers Island. He was trying to survive out there. They were beating him, pummeling him. The people, you know, if you watch Orange is the New Black, you know that the staff, like whether it be the guards or the nurses who work in the hospitals, they don't give a rat's ass at all. I mean, he was beaten so many times. And there was this one officer that actually had his back, Roberts, a white officer. He knew that he was just a kid. And there was one scene in particular after he got beat up the first time. There was an officer, not the one I talked about earlier, but a different one, said, "Let me know if you can do anything for me." I think it was alluding to him being abused in a sexual manner by that guard. I don't remember the name, but I feel like he alluded to that because there was more that I feel like they didn't put in there that happened, because it does happen in jail, guys. It really does. But yeah, we see him get transferred. We see flashbacks of him, his girlfriend, played by Storm Reed. I didn't know she was in this either. Also, Brett from On My Block, I didn't know he was in that too. But anyway, we see him get transferred to a different prison. We also find out how the black guards in the prison ain't crap either. They basically, believe that they did it. They don't give a crap about it. Whether you're black, white, brown, Asian, they don't care. Like, seriously, he was arranging him to get beat up the day he got transferred. Like, damn, he was beating up on him. Like, god dang. I want someone to find that officer and let him know. I don't want anyone who is involved in making these boys' lives a nightmare to get a wink of sleep to anytime soon. Nope. In Fairstein, she was forced out of her nonprofit. People are taking off her books everywhere, which I am happy about. There, I said it. So Corey, he basically asked to be put in solitary because he doesn't even know he can survive. Because after the second transfer, he was attacked by a bunch of prisoners, and he almost died. He decides to go in solitary, and he got beat on so many times. He got beat on like 3 times, if I remember counting. He starts hallucinating. He remembers his brother, who was a transgender woman, and he remembers his mom kicking her out, and how they kept a close relationship, and his brother actually dies. He was murdered in a hate crime. And that scene where it says, "No one gives a F about me," and Robert's just holding him, I'm just like, oh, God. Get this boy an Emmy. And, we see him having flashbacks of his girlfriend, and him deciding if he shouldn't have gone to the park that night, just take his girl to Coney Island. It's a lot. And he has flashbacks with his mom, too, and knowing how hard it is for her to see her son in jail. Even though I was a little bit mad at the mom for giving up, but I understood. And when 9/11 happened, that was kind of Corey's motivation to survive and to kind of make a new normal for himself. And, basically we see this guy, I can't remember his name, but he was the actual attacker in the case. And basically he had a come to Jesus moment and decided to admit to it. And we see everyone get acquitted. We see the original prosecutor who was assigned to the case that left because she knew it was complete fakeness and that the boys were not guilty. I'm mad at her for not sticking to her gut and making sure this never saw a trial because they were innocent. She proves that, DNA evidence that he actually was the real attacker, got a confession. His blood and semen and hair follicles were actually on the jogger's clothes. Whew, man. And Feinstein, when she was confronted by the original prosecutor and even the detective, they still denying it. They're saying, oh, it's just 6 person. No, boo. No, boo. It ain't the 6 person. It was one and only person. You had a full-on vendetta. And we see the boys at this rally once they are all released and acquitted, and they're together just holding their hands up. And we see Corey go back to the original place where he was the night of the attack, where he went to go get lunch. And, I don't know what happened to Stormy's character. I can't remember, but hopefully he found her again. If not, I'm pretty sure he has a nice family. He actually started a nonprofit at Harvard Law where it helps provides funding for people who are in injustices. My goodness. And we find out that they were acquitted in 2002. They got a $41 million settlement, which again, I will say, should have been higher. Should have been $100 million or $500 million. $100 million per boy. But it's still the largest in New York's history. So yeah, it showed a light how the system is towards a lot of people. Even if you're on parole, they expect you back in. And a lot of times when you're acquitted, You can't sue if you're on parole, meaning that you admitted to your crimes even though you didn't do it. So thankfully, all the boys served their time. Corey, he never admitted to anything because he knew it was innocent. So thankfully, they did that. Hopefully, this will bring on a suit. But I think they brought on the suit and they settled out of court with the $41 million. So yeah, it just shed the light on the whole system. I'm so glad people are talking about this and still talking about it. And they're going to be talking about it for a long time because the people who were involved in this, like, framing cover-up will get their karma. And they're already getting it today. And I'm surprised NYPD is so quiet. Yeah, there's that. So that's my review and recap of When They See Us. I hope you guys go watch it on Netflix. If you don't have Netflix, find a friend or a cousin to steal their password. Ask them for their password and you can watch it. Anyways, your girl, peace out. My love, and have a great week. Bye.